kick off as this session's been recorded. So obviously, if anyone this is the first part, they can go back and check this. But yeah, welcome to everyone. So we've got ticked over 60. I think we've got about 140 people registered today. So that's fantastic. We're really excited to show you where the team has come with the new product over the last probably 6 months since we last had a bit of a chat. We'll be running the webinar similar to the first one. I don't know if you remember, we've got Phil Johnson here, who's our head of product. He's in the UK, so we very much welcome Phil. And obviously myself, Dermot O'Brien, I'm the relationship manager here at Aryza. So hopefully I've met a lot of you. So we might just get kicked off. So as per last time, everyone's on no cameras, no sound, just obviously just with the number of people. So what you can do is we're going to try and keep it as interactive as we can to keep you interested. So you can ask questions throughout throughout the webinar, and we've got some of our support team in the background who are going to collate them. And then at the end, we'll probably run through as many as we can at the end. The other thing we're going to do is try to do some polling this time, just to get a bit of a feel for the audience and you know what you guys are looking for in the new product. But we don't want to kill you guys with slides or anything, so I might hand over to Phil just to introduce himself and yeah, give us a bit of a background of where the sort of products come since last time we spoke to you guys, and some of the initiatives that we're running to ensure that the product is built for insolvency practitioners with their input. So welcome, Phil.
Thank you, Dermot. Thank you for the intro. Good afternoon, everybody in Australia. It's great to be able to present to you again today. So just as Dermot said, we've done this once before. The slight difference this time is this is going to be sort of the Aryza Labs format webinar. So some of you watching may have been on the Labs program with us already. So really what that means is that the goal for today is to really showcase where we are in our build and to show you really upstream in our build environment, if you like, you know, exactly what we're doing. So we're confident that you're going to see some really interesting and innovative bits and pieces that we've been working on as we get ready to launch from the excitement point of view for what the product can solve for you, your teams and your businesses. And we just want to show you, as Dermot said, we just want to show you things today with the Q&A in the background as well, which we will take some time at the end. So it's going to be highly interactive. It's just, we're just going to show you things, as I said, and take you through elements of what we've been doing, Dermot. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell, as you summarized.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, and look, there's so much to show, so we'll you know, get into it. We're not going to be able to show everything today, so hopefully we'll have another follow-up webinar in probably you know, six weeks, 2 months. But to start with, what we're going to do is we wanted to try out something new, just doing a poll question. So if we can get that up on the screen, and you guys should be able to vote. So we just want to, yeah, test the waters just while Phil's getting his sort of stuff set up in the background around sort of what matters to you guys most as you look to sort of move to a new platform. So we've see those poll results coming on, which is great. So I've got ticked over 90 people on the webinar now, which is great. So I'm sure a few more will roll in. Yeah, look, no surprises, obviously. Yeah, the workflows and any time savings and any cost cutting and reduction of administrative time for building in that time saving. So yeah, look, that's great feedback. Thanks so much. So Phil, are you able to share your screen?
Yep, just confirm you can hopefully see the setup screen there, Dermot, and then if so, I'll let you kick off with the first sort of question.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Coming now. Sorry, it just came through for me. So, look, so we kicked off last time. Obviously, we hadn't. The UK case types was what was in the system for anyone who's new. Obviously, this platform is originated in the UK. We've adapted it heavily for the Australian market. So, I know it's a little bit, you know. Not boring is the right word, but yeah, it'd be good to kind of just see, you know, that we've got all the right case types in the system now, and how we set up a job from sort of scratch, just to kind of set the tone.
Yep, thanks, Dermot. So what you wouldn't have seen last time was the actual Australia jurisdiction configuration. So Just to say one thing as we go through this today, just keep in mind that as a user persona in the Australia market, when you log into the platform, you obviously will only see the Australia case types, the Australia data. So just kind of calling that out. Once we move into the build environment, shortly you'll see an element of the globalization, but we'll be focusing obviously on the Australia aspect. But just to kind of call that out, you know, so when you do log in, obviously everything's going to be configured for your jurisdiction as you would expect. So I'm just going to do a quick setup here. You'll see here I've just picked a CVL for the purposes of doing the demo. I'm just going to pick some demo data that we have here. Just go through. These can all be defaulted as well. Just to say. So I'll just pick up some excuse me, Australia demo accounts as we go through this. Let's click on there, and then we'll pick a cashier. Do the same. Of course, you'd have your teams and everything set up normally as you'd be going through this. Demo office. I'll pick a senior on the case. Let's pick other for there. So you'll have, as you would expect, all of your sort of SEN, ABN details. So you're going to put in some test data for the purposes of this. We will have the integration live for InfoTrack. So those of you who are familiar with that, that'll obviously pull back the details automatically. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to run through some demo data just to show you the setup.
Anyone's using our timekeeping module at the moment will be aware of the InfoTrack integration we've already got. So it'll be using similar.
Yeah, and we have some of the address configuration, postcode lookup, etc., as you'd expect, just for the Australian market. So that's just a quick basic setup. Dermot, I think you've another question you're going to ask her. So why you're not just not jump to a case that I've prepared earlier just for some.
No, that's great. I think just puts everyone's mind at ease that we've got sort of those basics all sorted out. So what I guess continue on from our last webinar. Obviously, we want to probably see. I'm sure everyone's quite keen to see more that specific Australian data points and what's the system capturing that is specific for Australia, similar to what Insolv 6 does now.
Yeah, so you can see on the screen there, you saw the setup as per the first part. So I've just jumped into another Australian CVL case just that has some data sort of pre-prepared. So you'll see in there we've got, as per your questions, the SEN data, ABN data, some ASIC information. We also then have BAS and STP details in terms of the requirements needed for the ATO. So again, there's clearly a lot of overlap across the UK jurisdiction as well, but you are now starting to see the specifics coming out for the Australian market. So when the contacts here with some basic details already loaded in, if I jump into creditors, you'll see some of the Australian banks are in there as well. So look, it is what it is really. And if I jump into my chart of accounts as well, you'll see with some of the chart of account code details in terms of asset realization setup working. So in effect, this is a working case. In the background, we've got our full banking configuration in there as well. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in terms of statement imports and transaction handling. So we have all of our document configuration in there as well, and the full capability for the electronic creditor portal and also the Engage platform as well, which I know we have in the UK. We're rolling out to Australia for both the personal case types and also corporate. So I think they'll be the first to market with that in terms of company directors and handling RoCap and things like that. So yeah, Dermot, that's kind of it is what it is. You can see some of those sort of custom feeds that you'd expect there.
Of course, you have to see, you've got your CACs and everything sort of set up. So yeah, a lot of work's been done. So that's great. I think just to Phil's point, get around that RoCap. So last time, I'm pretty sure we certainly showed the creditors portal and what was coming down the line. We might not get to show up today, but what Phil was referring to in relation to Engage, who some of you guys might have seen already, that's our platform where you can basically provide, you can send out links to, say, for example, your directors, your debtors, and create questionnaires, for example, for your RoCap, for your directors' reports, and get that real live data back into the system. So gone are the days of sending those packs out just via pen and paper. So all that information coming back. So thanks Phil. Okay, so I guess the next thing I wanted to get you to show, Phil, is obviously, and it was good actually seeing that poll that AI isn't the most important thing. I think people are starting to wise up to you want AI involved in your software, but it's got to be useful. We can show, like most platforms now, that you can quickly reply. I think Phil's you can reply to emails quickly via AI. But what other sort of AI enablements have we got in the system that aren't just sort of your basic quickly respond to an email?
I think to your point, there's a lot of talk at the minute everywhere about AI, regardless of what business you operate in. But I think that the key part that we're trying to solve in Aryza is that when we're looking at how we use AI, it's actually adding proper value. It's solving a problem for you and your business, and it's actually making a difference. So what I'm going to show here, we've just released our 2.10 version into the UK market. So by the time we go live in Australia, we'll probably be up to 2.13. But the reason I'm mentioning that is we've released the first part of our document builder tool. So I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you this example of a document. It's the remuneration approval report, which I'm sure most of you watching this will be familiar with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move into our build environment. And again, everything I'm going to show you here is either already live or coming in the next 1 to 2 release versions. Okay, just to make that really, really clear. We are working on some significant UX and UI improvements as well as part of that. So again, when it goes live in Australia, the idea is that there's an even more positive experience than what you would see even now if you had the sandbox environment. But in answer to your question, we have used AI significantly to help with how we manage documents. So the idea effectively is that we can accelerate sort of 10 to 20x the build process of documents, forms, etc. within the Australian case type. So as an end user, you'll have access to a version of what I'm about to demonstrate to you now, which effectively is the ability to not only map documents. We will have, of course, your standard documents from a compliance perspective, but if you have a large complex job and you want to add some customization or just change some of the templates, then you'll be able to do that. So I'm going to use that enumeration approval document just to basically show you how this works. So
and you make a good point there, just for why you're getting this up, is obviously for a lot of our customers, we already do what create fields, create the templates and stuff like this, but obviously that's time consuming for us, costly, and if you ever want to get them changed, obviously you got to come to us. So I think although this isn't necessarily the newest thing, because sometimes we do it for our customers, I think what you pointed out is perfect, that if you've got a complex job or if you've got a small job, you can do what you're spinning up now in how long it takes you. So I'll let you take over.
Yeah, so I'm doing this real time simply to illustrate the fact that it is live, because you're seeing it, and also just the speed. So you have the ability to kind of override the field if you want. So I can map them to anywhere in the database. But as you can see, like it gives a confidence rating on the mapping. So I can suggest manually on each field, but I'm just going to hit accept all, and then I'm going to publish that template. Okay, so I'll go back to my vault, and then I'm just going to return back to some demo cases. So I'm going to go into my Australia case types. I'm going to go into my liquidation. I'm going to pick this demo case that I have. I'm going to go to my documents and files. So I'm just going to generate a document from this case. And you'll see here, there you go. So it's appeared. You saw me calling it the Australia webinar demo. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see it's pulled all the data already. So you've got the liquidator name, you've got the company name. It's merged all those fields already in terms of that document format for the enumeration approval. So if I want, I can go and edit it if I want to, make some final changes, but I'm going to just click looks good. I've got a couple of options here, which can be just to save it directly to the case file. I'll show you the PDF. You can automatically configure, so the system will always be aware at creditor level if the electronic correspondence is switched on or switched off. So in the case of a corporate case for either creditor representation or direct creditor interest, or as you mentioned earlier, directors. In terms of the Engage portal, I can then decide whether I want to send these manually, or if the electronic correspondence is set on a creditor level, that connect hub, that connect checkbox would be there by default. And likewise, if I want to push it to the directors portal, then I can do that as well from here. So I'll just finalize that. And there you go, you can see. Look, it's a basic template because we did it so quickly. Of course, it would have all of your branding as you would expect. But again, hopefully you can kind of see the power of that. And then once the document is in the vault, you have the ability then to configure that yourself. You can change the fields, you can rename the fields, you can drag and drop them, whatever you need, basically. So yeah, so again, just back to your question to box that off, Dermot, I think it's using AI in a way that actually solves a problem, that has high impact, makes life better, speed, compliance, information security, all that sort of good stuff. So
yeah, and I guess a lot of those fields now that you can, quickly mock that up. You could, just think for creditors reports, for your remuneration reports.
Yep.
It's sort of endless as to what data, being a whole system. You've got your timesheets all feeding through to your remuneration report. A lot of those can be dialed in for those creditors reports to make sure that all that information is, from the system. There's no transpiring errors or anything like that. So yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, I think, we'll harp on about it. AI is fantastic, but it's got to be used to save time. And although we've got all those bells and whistles around summarizing files, etc. like that, but that might not necessarily save you as much time as something like report writing for your billable work. So thanks for that, Phil. So the next sort of one I wanted to tick off was more around that time saving. So how will the user experience change from the current tasking in Insolv 6? And I guess what's the biggest change around workflows and how are we giving sort of that control of the system back to the practice as opposed to Insolv 6, where it's very much us prescribing how the system works.
No, absolutely. So we know from a product catalog perspective, we want to have a set of standard documents, as you described in your question, or tasks and workflows, checklists, or whatever terminology that you might happen to use. But again, this has come directly from our feedback, both working very closely with clients in Australia, and as part of the feedback from our lab sessions that we've had with a number of Australia clients over the past probably 6 months. And one of the big things that always jumps out is the ability to configure the tasks, the checklists, etc. on the workflow. So what you're looking at here is our new capability for effectively a workflow builder. So think about it as you've got your different job types, case types, as you would expect. And in effect, you've got quite a nice interactive UI and UX experience that allows you to add tasks, add stages.
Sorry, Phil, just stop you 1 sec. Would you mind just, if you can, zooming in a little bit?
Sure.
A couple of people just struggling to.
Is that a bit better? Hopefully, yeah. Okay.
Yep. I think that's better.
You saw the change there, just to confirm on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've just put in here webinar demo task. So again, if I wanted to sort of drag and drop that around, I can do that within the pre-appointment workflow. So again, the idea is that it's intuitive. Of course, we'll always support people with training, documentation, videos, but the idea and the goal that we have is that things, I guess, are simply easy to understand and use because you know what's on the screen. So again, I probably don't need to talk to this too much. It's hopefully reasonably self-explanatory as to how this actually works. And you can configure different sort of tasks, outcomes, triggers, documents being sent, etc. on the back of all these. So once I would save that effectively is applied as a template. So in this example, for any VA ongoing, this workflow would be applied to it. And again, just to kind of illustrate then how this feeds through. So again, back to my comment earlier about the sort of the UI experience. So when I go in here, I can see, sorry, I have Zoom. Let me just pull the Zoom back a little bit for this. So again, you get the idea here where you've got your flow of your checklist, your job tasks, I'm using different words because I appreciate some people call it workflow, some people call it checklists, some people call it tasks. So just kind of showing that I can go through and complete these either manually. If you have a large job, for example, with a holding company, you can also set up rules that will apply and cascade that down. So let's say you had a parent holding company with 10 other impacted limited company firms within that. You can then apply effectively apply all to mass completion of workflow. So I'm showing you manual checks here and manual completions for the purposes of the demo. Of course, in the background, there's full automation around all this. So you can set up tasks, you can set up reminders, trigger points. For example, you touched on Engage earlier there, Dermot. We have automatic reminders that go out to directors to complete their submissions or ROCAP, whatever. So that's all configurable. But again, the goal is that the system becomes that it's to allow you to manage your business by exception. And ultimately it'll show you what you have to do on a given day when you're logging in. So again, yeah, like we're quite excited about the look and feel of the workflow and the tasks compared to what we have at the minute. And again, that's all been based on listening to the client feedback, etc. So yeah, so hopefully that answers Dermot that ask just around the workflow and the tasks, etc.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think to your point, with Insolv 6 at the moment, we talk to so many of our clients, and some use tasking heavily, some don't. So if going back to that other screen where you were working through the workflows, I mean, it really can be, even manager by manager or partner by partner can decide what steps they want in their in their jobs, and different jobs are going to have different tasks. So I think the days of having 50,000 tasks that aren't completed that pop up on your screen or on your emails on Monday, it's not really how the system will work anymore. It'll be way more configurable. So it's something, and everyone was saying that at the start of the poll, time saving and efficiency around workflows were the two biggest things that came up on that poll. So we hope that this will encourage people to use this a lot more religiously, as opposed to what Insolv 6 currently does, which is obviously, an old system. It's a bit more clunky and harder to configure. So I think, that really shows how, these modern solutions can really be personalized for firms, for partners, for, for managers. So that's fantastic. Thanks, Phil.
Cool.
I think the next sort of question I just had was around reporting. So obviously, we've seen the remuneration report that was fantastic, but I guess more from like a management level, how are we showing reporting? Can different personas have different reporting dashboards? And talk us, because this has come a long way, and since we definitely showed 6 months ago. So keen to kind of see where it's at, and if you don't mind talking us through.
Hopefully you can see that okay on the screen. If not, just shout. But we're actually really excited about this. So there's a few things we wanted to solve here, right? So we know that clients often have to spend a lot of time waiting on reports being built. If you think of the traditional kind of SQL, SSRS model, if you like, where it often was quite clunky. The SQL reporting concept and tech, it hasn't really changed much in the last sort of 20 or 30 years in terms of the technology that it's using. So really, we wanted to solve that to make the reports more interactive, faster to build, but also that businesses felt that they didn't have to spend time and money having their own reporting team, their own maybe Power BI license that can be often quite expensive. So effectively what you're looking at, and this is actually going live next week in the UK, is our completely new built-in as a service reporting tool, highly configurable, highly customizable. We can build reports often in minutes and hours compared to maybe taking days as it would have done before. So just to run through it, I mean, we can probably spend an hour demonstrating this on its own, but just to kind of call out a few things again. User persona based, you can configure your own dashboard, so you can see me dragging things around. I can switch things off. You get the idea of different little panels that I can turn on and off. I've got different customizations down the right hand side here. Once I've set up my reports, I can also subscribe to them. So what that does is it allows me to schedule them. I can get them via email, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever I need. I can pick my different formats. I can have a PDF embedded. I can have an Excel. I can decide what recipients that I want. So as a user logging into this, I have my full, I can view it as a real-time dashboard, fully integrated to the product, or I can set up the more traditional email reports if I want as well. I think all my Australian case types down the left-hand side. And again, this is just some of the data that we've set up. And look, the whole idea here is to provide visibility of what's going on in your portfolio of jobs.
Practice log.
Yeah. And one of the things that this actually came out of an audit feedback. So one of the clients in the UK had gone through an audit and had talked about the ability, would it be great to have a timeline view of the case? So if you look here, you can kind of spin through, you can scroll through everything that's happened in the case. And this is great from an audit and compliance perspective. I can get a bit more detail, into kind of what's been happening. I can do different.
And someone just picking up the file as well, Phil, for the first time.
Right.
You've got to change in manager, or you got to change in, junior or whoever it is. Just be able to quickly see that at a timeline view. That's
exactly. And then another thing that came out as well was, while we're obviously quite proud of kind of what we're doing and continue to build on what you're seeing here in terms of the sort of the standard reports that we have, if you so wish, you get access to your full data schema. So again, if you were an Australia user, you of course would only see the Australia data. I'm just showing you the filter here. So I can add, I can add widgets. So if I want to just pick a basic table, I can effectively pick by individual case type within Australia, or I can just pick on everything. And again, you get the idea. So I'll just do some basics here. You get some KPIs. If I wanted to add, I don't know, say like do a line chart about something. If I just pick, say, different data source, I could do portfolio of.
And just while you're doing that, so
you get the idea.
Can do that. You could do that by jobs as well. So you could just see
jobs.
Your jobs that you're a manager on, or you're
exactly
partner on. That's great. I just
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Question there. With obviously, it does look quite easy to figure it out, but like we will be providing training. On this. So if it looks a little bit daunting, there'll be dedicated training. Cool.
Across the board. Absolutely. So that's reporting, brand new reporting tool, and happy to, if anybody wants an overview of this, as part of a lab session at a different time, we're more than happy to do a bit of a deep dive on.
And I mean, just even with that reporting tool now that we're going to have, the timekeeping, the debtors portal, or the directors portal, whatever you want to call it, and then also creditors portal, all that information all feeding through, plus your treasury, plus your your chart of accounts for each individual job. Fantastic. I mean, it's like standard, I guess, amongst most platforms now to have this sort of built-in reporting. But good. Obviously, a huge leg up from Insolv 6.
Awesome.
Next sort of question, I wanted to go back to more of that treasury and banking. Obviously, we've most of our users use banking integration with the 3 banks that we offer. But I think, again, just based on the feedback we're getting, time saving workflows, how are we handling, that day-to-day stuff? How is that speeding up on the banking side? Through bank recs, everyone's used Xero, and how you get the the matches coming through on some of those modern solutions. So just keen to see that a little bit in action.
So kind of similar link as well back into your comment about the AI aspect and how we kind of want to solve things properly using that. So we'll just demonstrate very quickly the automatic reconciliation. So as you've got your transactions coming in from the bank, because this is the demo, we've switched on the simulation mode, so I can simulate the different banking formats. So this could be, to be clear, it could be a file import, it could be full API connectivity. So for the purposes of the demo, I can just run a simulation of transactions. So I'll just hit 15 here. I'll just leave it as CBA. I'll just generate the statement, and you can see here it'll pull back sample test data. So I'll then click on the AI matching engine. That'll take me back to here. So you'll see here as a user, it's matched 80% so far. It'll self-learn as well. So based on different rules that we have confirmed in the past, it'll automatically match. So again, the idea is that you end up just sort of managing by exception. This is all just test data, of course, so bear with it in terms of the data. But again, it's just to illustrate the goal that we have. So I can review that and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to match it to that case, confirmed. Going to match it to that case in that example. So look, again, it's very quick for us to illustrate this. I think, Dermot, it kind of is what it is. And I suppose that the big difference is that all of the, as you would expect for your market, all of the banking integrations that are required that you have in Insolv 6, plus any more that are available to us, we will have. But then we would apply the sort of AI tech, as you've seen here, to the bank reconciliation, the transaction management, again, to save time. Audit obviously is important, so there's a full audit engine behind here, not just on the imports, but also the individual who may have taken a decision to match it or not match it. And I can also refer these off as well to a colleague if I so wish. So I can assign a different case, or I can also move it to another user if I need like an escalation of permissions, etc. So
you can. So
any questions? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You could really have, obviously, most clients will have multiple jobs, so you can either have it from a perspective of, say, you're someone in administration doing this for multiple jobs, or you can slim it down to a particular job, or you can just give it off to your junior accountant to then have a go, or if you're unsure of something at your treasury level, you can farm that off to someone within that specific job.
Correct. Yep. Full permissions based. You could have a team. Some firms will have, as you know, individual members that control the treasury. Some will have a full team that do the cash book. So either will work depending on the permissions, etc. in terms of how it's set up.
Yeah. Great. And guys, so I don't know if you heard at the start, but if you've got any questions, please submit them on the side panel, I believe it is. Because if we don't get through all the questions this afternoon, what we did last time is we did respond to all questions in a PDF, so we'll circulate that as well. So if there's questions that we've got a couple coming through at the moment, which is great. Cool. Well, Phil, that kind of ends what I was keen to kind of get everyone to see today. But I think what we might do is, might sort of go into the Q&A part of the session, because we've got limited time. There was a couple other things we wanted to go through, but that's okay. I'd rather get through some questions, and we can obviously have a follow-up webinar in the coming weeks and months. So,
give me a question. Need a question?
What we're going to do is we're just going to get a couple sent through, and just sort of, there was some themes. Cool. Okay, so please keep sending them through. So how can staff members better track job status and communicate within the system for a more collaborative experience?
Okay, nice question. Whoever asked that, thank you. So you've seen the workflow that we showed earlier on there. One of the things that's really interesting that we have worked on, which I can show you. So this is like a list view of cases, if you imagine, but you also want to kind of have your portfolio view. So there's sort of, if you think about it as different personas, not just of users, but also of stages that a job might be at. Okay, so this is sort of showing an example of this where you can see multiple cases in the system. And again, this is all user login based or team login based. But one of the things that we have working, which you'll see here, is the ability to tag some of your colleagues. So I'm looking at me in this example of being James. So if I go back to the list, let's just pick, say, what have we got here? Let's pick one. So let's pick document that has to go to creditors. So I could say, hi James.
Great.
Webinar demo. Don't forget to send document to creditors. I'm going to hit send comment, and that's a full audit. So think of your iPhone app, your WhatsApp, whatever. This builds up a correspondence history on the system. Again, for the purposes of the demo, I'll be James. So I'll click tagged, and there you go. So I've got that comment in my work list, if you like. I can go back and talk to the case of the job, if you like, or tag my colleague, and then go straight into the case. Sorry, just a demo case in this example, but you get the idea. So again, back to the training comment, like this illustrates exactly what it needs to do in the way that you maybe use your mobile phone, or you would tag on an email like at user. So it's exactly that same approach. And again, this came directly from end user feedback. And we know the impact of this is actually really high. And I think it really adds a nice experience to how you're using the product, and also how your colleagues interact with each other. We've seen just even, just from a job experience, or in the case of consumer debt, it actually gives everybody a better experience overall when people can see a nicer snapshot of what's happening on the history of the case, or even just how different people are interacting. If someone's gone on leave or somebody's sick, it's quite easy for both individual case administrators or team managers or team leads to kind of manage. So I think that probably helps answer that question, Dermot, and hopefully whoever asked.
I think it goes to the because there's another sort of question that's coming through that I just wanted to sort of touch on is, and we did show this last time around, obviously document approval process and how that's built in. So we showed last time that if you're if you're a partner, or someone who's approving stuff, you can now do that on the phone. And you'll get documents that attachments, etc. And I think it just goes to that whole idea of being an omni sort of platform where you shouldn't have to leave Insolv, because you've got your creditors, your debtors, your treasury, your timekeeping. You've got your communication. Obviously, it's not exactly like Teams or Slack, but a way to chat with people, so you're not having to take any of that offline, and it's all within the system. So I think that's pretty. I mean, credit to you, Phil. That's the whole idea behind your system as head of product. That's what you want to design, right?
It's simply it's all about the end user impact and outcome, right? There's no point in us spending time showing AI for the sake of AI, or showing something like this doesn't actually solve a problem, or make everybody who's watching this and their team's lives better, allow you to maximize your margin, allow you to do more, to scale up, and ultimately offer a better service to all of your clients. So that's the goal. And I think even the fact that we've got the Q&A, like this, Dermot, but to reiterate, like we will do significant analysis on all the questions that we get today, even if we can't answer them all. And I think, Dermot, you did a great job. As you remember last time, you'd sent out the document with the full Q&A that we got, and we'll do exactly the same thing. And where we can, we'll allocate a release version to anything that we think is
giving each other a bit of kudos, you feel.
What's that?
Well, giving each other a bit of kudos while no one can speak and they're all on silent.
That's it.
Good. Hey, we'll keep it going. We'll keep moving. Sorry. So this is, I might answer this one. So when will Insolv 2 generally be available? And I think there was sort of another question that popped out sort of in that same vein. Will it easy to integrate Insolv 6 data into the new platform? So I might let you sort of handle that question, but long story short, the release date is Q4 this year. I did say that. I thought I said that at the start. Obviously, we can't transfer everyone across on the same day. There will be a process. We're working through the playbooks, the design architecture that we want to obviously give to you guys before you transfer across, and see a really good plan of how we're going to do it. I'll let Phil talk about how the Insolv 6 data will be sort of transferred into the new platform. Just before I do, we're really keen to get people across as quickly as we can. Just confirming, Insolv 6 isn't going to shut down anytime soon. We've got a long time before that happens, so there is time. We're not forcing anyone off off Insolv 6, but obviously, if you are keen, if you're one of the keen ones that want to get across straight away, please let me know, because it will be some sort of not first in first dress, but it'll be a bit of a list, and if you can show your willingness to move, if that's how you guys want to go, that would be great. Let me know as soon as possible. Obviously, there's a few steps before you sign off that you want to come across, but definitely we need interest as to who wants to sort of to get across. And I'll just let Phil sort of talk about that Insolv 6 to Insolv 2 sort of
Yeah.
transfer, how that sort of works broadly. And we'll give more detail about this in the Q&A document.
Yeah, again, we can give more detail, and we're also happy to have a chat with anybody kind of one-to-one if they want. But yeah, just at a high level, what we have done is we've actually built a productized upgrade process. So what we mean by that is we've moved away from the traditional, probably slightly higher risk, older school SQL migration method, if you like. So in effect, what it is a data sync. So we're not looking to completely rip up the Insolv 6 sort of schema and how that works. Ultimately, what we have is effectively a sync process that brings it up into the new product, which is why we've kind of used the upgrade as the actual terminology. So what that would mean in effect is, as part of your upgrade process and your onboarding to the new product, you in effect would be able to see your case data in the new platform well in advance of going live. So that, I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this today have been involved in those traditional migration projects in the past. So what we're not doing is having a go live weekend whereby scripts have to run for 15 hours and you kind of cross your fingers and hope that it all works. So the idea is that part of your UAT acceptance in the service process and sign off would effectively allow you to see your data synced as it is in Insolv 6 in the new product. So when you decide what Monday you're going live on the new platform, that you can sleep well at night knowing that your data is all there because you've signed it off as part of the acceptance in the service process. So the short answer
there'll be
is
that overlap time where you can have both systems running.
Yeah, and really it's probably worth just mentioning too. We have, in fact, we were actually speaking about this actually yesterday in Dublin. Again, just around, we have like a product health toolkit that we can then apply to each individual client's data set. So that helps understand. This is all about de-risking and providing visibility. So it does quite smart things. And again, there's a little bit of AI tech in here, but understanding what integrations do you have, because we understand that there are, of course, the ones we know about, like the banking integrations or reporting. But let's say you've got some nuances around data that's sending it can kind of map out the data flows. That helps us understand if we move you, for example, to our cloud Azure servers, what impact does that have? What other things do we have to consider that there's a data transition or data flow with? But also it can provide data health scores on the data in your system. So it allows us to make decisions on a product kind of interactive level. It says, okay, we can work with our clients, and then they can make a decision to either leave the data because they don't need it, or we can do mass updates as part of the upgrade process. So it just gives that confidence that the data can also be captured and synced across in the most healthy state possible. So again, we do all that as part of that kind of prioritized upgrade process, Dermot. So that's basically the answer. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge advantage being able to have that parallel of Insolv 6 and the new Insolv. To be able to compare, we're not going to switch it off, and there'll be that real-time feedback. So as you said, that old school, shut down Friday, hope by Monday it's all good, and find out 10 weeks later that the information's wrong. For anyone who's been on a competitor transfer to Insolv 6 know about it, or maybe done it elsewhere. It's that old school style is it's a bit of a risk. So cool. Well, I'll just keep going. So another theme of questions is around. Okay, so what's the biggest sort of as the product lead? So this is to you, Phil. What do you see as like sort of the biggest differentiators with the new Insolv to sort of the other products out on the market?
You think there's probably two ways to answer this. There's the product differentiation, but there's also the Aryza difference as well. So if you look at we've got well over 20 years experience of doing this globally, which is significant. We kind of think about it as we've got the global expertise power behind us, and then we've got the local knowledge, the adaptability of yourselves and our colleagues in Australia as well, who know the clients well, Dermot. So I think that's a big part. We've got all of our InfoSec credentials. We believe that we're using AI in a good way that solves problems and impacts, as we kind of talked about and as we've hopefully demonstrated today. And look, from the product perspective, I think there's you touched on the Engage platform earlier. I think that's probably something that's worth calling out as a bit of a USP that we have around things like the RoCap forums for directors and having that digital journey for directors. We were the first to launch it in the UK. We're going to be the first to launch it in Australia. And again, it's all around, as the poll showed, time saving, cost saving, automation. And then look, I can't not mention the labs program and just the fact that we work so closely with clients, because that is a big part of our differentiation around making the product better for the end users and actively listen to the pain points. So look, there's a lot in there, I guess, but I think overall, it's the kudos of who Aryza are and what we have behind us across not
I'd
just.
agree with that, and you know, it's the continuity of I guess we've been in this industry for 20 plus years throughout, you know, the UK, Australia. You know, we're a large company. We've got AI companies that we've acquired, so we've got a lot of knowledge for you know, it's not just third party AI. So that, I think that's a huge capability. And going forward as well, the fact that we'll be able to build, you know, because obviously with this new platform, there's going to be a release every month. With you know, you're not going to have the old school patches or anything like that. So new things will be coming, and you can see how quickly they are coming, even from last time we showed you. And there'll be more before the release of Q4. And I think just having that, you know, we've got ISO accreditations, SOC accreditations. We're very much an established player in the market, which I think in a very specific and regulated area. And we've got great association connections as well. So I think that's probably a bit of a standout.
Just one point to mention, actually, just in case people aren't aware. So that AI internal capability is really important. So as an example, under that Engage platform, we have our AI agents now for audio and text conversion and compliance auditing, which we've had a massive positive feedback on. We also have our conversational AI capability within Engage as well. So that's all internal proprietary tech, and the majority of what you saw today was all internally built. So I think that's really important to call out, especially with the reliance on, you know, a lot of the big AI firms that we all know out there in terms of the Anthropics and the, you know, the Googles and etc. So I think it's important to call out that, you know, a lot of the AI capability that we have is internal, and we know we've seen some real positive feedback. We're asked quite a lot, as you would expect. You get your standard information security questionnaires, but we're also being asked now specifics all around AI and how we're rolling that out, how we're leveraging it, and how it's built. So I think it's important. I just wanted to kind of touch on that point that you mentioned, because you're quite right. I think that's definitely a big sort of it's a key point for us to continue as we enter the Australian market further with this.
So we've got a little bit more time, so I thought I'd just run through some other questions.
Yeah, sure.
We've got so first one about finalized jobs. I presume they're talking about whether they come across. That's up to you guys how you want to do it. Whether or not you want to keep old jobs on the on Insolv 6 and create a database where you can, you know, if you ever really needed to go back and get them, you could.
I think just on that, Dermot, from a clean cut perspective, like we've done hundreds of upgrades like these over the years in the UK and also in Canada, plus just general debt seal type migration. So typically the closed or dead cases will come across and they'll stay in an archive form, but our steer would be like we would have them in the closed state in the new product as well. So to be honest, whether we upgrade, you know, a portfolio of 100 cases or 100,000 cases, regardless of status, it doesn't really matter too much. So I think that would be our default position, would be have a complete clean cut, upgrade everything, unless you're looking to kind of archive them off or you've sold them off to some other party or something like that. So
great. I might answer this one. What do you intend to do with the old system? Do you intend to deactivate it? I think I might have mentioned before. As we said, it will be around for the next, you know, 3 years, yes, 4 years, maybe 5 years, probably not. So, you know, there's plenty of time to come across. Because it's on your desktop, it won't necessarily be deactivated, but as we go on, it won't be supported. So in order to be compliant, etc., you will need to transfer across eventually. But again, as I said, we're not pushing anyone to go across. That's not what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think can I just maybe touch on that? I think
yeah.
the goal we have is that the impact and value of what you see in the new product makes it a bit of a no-brainer to move.
Yeah.
Of course, we're never going to force anybody in a particular short timeline of the next few months, but just kind of calling that out, that hopefully what you've seen today is the start of illustrating the value of what this is going to bring to your business and the impact that it's going to have. So yeah, it's just something that we're always excited about, and we hope that the product impact will sort of speak for itself in terms of people's appetite to move.
Okay, cool. I got two ones that I think will interest you, Phil.
Yep.
Does this integrate with the DMS or anything like net documents?
Yep. So full document management platform agnostic capability. So the biggest ask we probably have is SharePoint globally at the minute. So, but yeah, if wherever you store your documents at the minute, whether it's natively as in within the Insolv 6 product, we still can maintain that capability. Or if you have it in any third-party tool, that's absolutely fine. Just doing an API integration for that basically is the answer there.
Yeah, it's we'll support any DMS basically.
Yeah. Okay.
There was another one that I saw. Okay, yeah, around pricing. Yep, there's a couple of pricing questions. So a bit of an update for most of you. So originally it was going to be priced based on a module system. And I thought it, just to be clear, that was the intention, but we've kind of sort of changed tact a little bit in that we think that obviously we want the best product for everyone. So we're going to include all of the modules now. So that's your obviously Insolv, timekeeping, Engage, and creditors portal. Not that you have to use them all, but we just figured the way that the, I guess, tech landscape is going, obviously we want you guys to have the best product, and I think that would cut people out of using the system to its full extent. I think that's fair, Phil. And yeah, so around pricing, I'm not trying to dodge a question, but we are still finalizing that and should have that. We've actually given some pricing to some of our customers, so it's not the way it's not there yet. We're just sort of finalizing that, just as I guess as the tech landscape is shifting a little bit on, you know, the old school method of just having it by user. We want to move away from that, so it'll be more like a fair use policy around like a bracket of users. So we're not having to do what you guys currently do. Every time you add a user, you've got to come to us and pay more. It'll be more of a band. So long-winded way of saying not finalized, but we'll be with you guys shortly. Okay. I'm just having a look. Yeah, look, we've got 5 minutes left, so I'll just see if there's any other sort of themes. What systems or softwares can be integrated into the system? So Phil, I might let you answer that one.
Quite a wide range of questions. There's an API layer to all this, so we're happy to have a discussion with anybody in terms of what types of integrations you're thinking of. So we would have seen a number of different things, everything from potentially a custom built timekeeping solution could be one example, just that I'm thinking of, that we've no problem with an integration with, if that's something that you want to do. So the fact that it's built API first means that we're absolutely happy to kind of discuss that capability. Yeah, is basically the answer, and we do have that already with some clients.
Yeah, and give clients the option of going out and building it for themselves, and getting that integration put in to Insolv if we're not providing it first. And so yeah, fantastic. Well, guys, I think obviously there's heaps more questions, and as I said, we'll we will respond to those in the coming days, just to get everyone the most information out as we can. Obviously, we'll be running more labs programs. So we've done it with quite a few customers now. We will be doing it with more. So I'll be reaching out to certain customers in the coming weeks on maybe some shorter format ones for you guys to review before, obviously the release in Q4. And as I said before, Phil, I think it'd be good to do another one of these in 6 weeks, 2 months when there's another release, and we can show. There was a lot of things we left out today, just purely because of time. But it'd be good to go through that again. So I really appreciate Phil. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you, and thanks for all some great questions there. Thanks everybody for the interactivity. Was great.
Great.
Made it really interesting.
And, obviously we'll send this recording out. So if there's anyone in your firm or practice that missed it, or if you want to watch it again, or and if there's any follow-up questions, obviously you've got my email, Phil's, Nihar's, whoever you want to send a question, more than welcome, and we can jump on a call, get into the system if there's anything you want to see. So appreciate everyone's time, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thanks all. Have a good evening. Thank you. Bye bye.